What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm a Quarter in the Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion, the one, the only, Pius Inalo Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. There you
What's up, party people? What's good,
go.
man? What's up with you?
Dude, crazy ass. Like, I can't even believe it's Sunday because I felt like my weekend ended in the wee hours of this morning, right? But two back-to-back GCW Game Changer Wrestling shows, both of them headlined by none other than Minoru Suzuki, King of Pancrase, what have you, and he fought like a technical match with no ropes against the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson, the reigning and defending United Wrestling Network world champion, and I believe like Ring of Honor tag champion and what have you. And then the next night he fights fucking Nick Gage, the fucking deathmatch guy, and they fucking have a brawl, and it was just fucking whatever. And eating with Danzig at the Rainbow Room, Glenn Danzig, weird, so weird.
Wow. Hey. When you really think about it, this is the nature of your business. It's supposed to happen like that.
I mean, theoretically, it's I revert back to the not a huge movie buff, but the two that I live by, at least the parts, are again, Mr. Deeds, in the end scene where, they're at the boardroom and they're trying to fucking, oust fucking Adam Sandler's character out of the fucking company,
Right.
and whatever. And he goes to that guy and was like, "Hey, what'd you want to be when you fucking, were you little?" It's like, "I want to be a veterinarian." "What do you do now?" It was like, "I own the largest fucking slaughterhouses in the state of Texas." Like, oh man, that off the beaten path. Like that, the fucking 7-year-old you would kick your ass, right? Something to that effect, right? And then the other one is Johnny Cash Walk the Line, right? Where, I don't know if it actually happened, but Johnny Cash auditions to Sam Phillips of Sun Records, right? At a time where Elvis is on the charts and Jerry Lee Lewis and whatever. They're the top record company of the era, and it's just like him and his band, they start up playing this fucking hymnal and whatever, and Sam Phillips stops him and is like, "Hey, imagine if you walked outside and a car hit you and you're fucking laying in a gutter and you had one last song to sing before you meet your maker. Are you going to sing that same tired hymnal that everybody has sang throughout the conclaves of history? Or you're going to sing something a little bit different?" Right? And then he goes darker and shit like that. I don't know if that actually happened, but it's something that I definitely, those two things. So the 7-year-old me would be like, pretty damn proud. And if this is my last song, laying dead in the gutter, it's a nice little tune.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is, man. We just got to remember to strap on our seatbelts and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Alex Ramirez says, "Voodoo and Adam, are you a fan of that fake MMA blood sport?" Whoa, hold on. You go to the fucking Karen Tran or KZT and Zeta Zhang match from Bloodsport 7? I mean, I was hanging out with fucking Zeta last night. She still has a fucking shiner. Well, I mean, a bruised fucking cheekbone because of the fucking shit. So there ain't nothing fake about it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to all of those guys and girls after the fucking Marina Shafir and Masha Slamovich, match is fucking off the fucking charts. Yeah, and actually, Masha Slamovich will be on the According to Woods podcast right before she ascends to Impact Wrestling's Knockouts division roster. So to say if I'm a fan, I think that's the question. Fuck yeah, I'm a fan. You bet your fucking bottom dollar, Little Orphan Annie, I'm a fucking fan.
Hey, I've been a fan of Prores since I was a yay high. So Bloodsport, Prores, anything of that nature, I'm a fan of, because I'll tell you why. Call it whatever you want. Mm-hmm. All I know is these people get battered and bruised worse than real fighters.
Yeah.
they get battered and bruised worse than real fighters. At the end of their career, they're broken down. So I gotta respect that, and I gotta show love for their sacrifice.
Absolutely, and it is a sacrifice, and it's the catch-22, right? Like, oh, fighters, they fight, they have training camps, right? And if you're lucky, you get, maybe 1 to 3 fights in a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not traveling, you know, I mean, you're traveling, but only for the duration of the fight. But you're in your fight camp. You're not
Mm-hmm.
traveling much. You get to fucking drive to the gym, drive home, be at
Mm-hmm.
home every night. Not
Mm-hmm.
4 days on, 3 days off, but one of them
Mm-hmm.
is a travel day. So you really
Mm-hmm.
got 1.5 fucking days to spend with your family until you
Mm-hmm.
either get injured or hang them up completely, hang up the boots. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, shout out, and anybody that says wrestling is fake. I
Mm-hmm.
bore witness to the late great Harley Race back in 2011 in a fucking wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nothing fake about it, man. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so there you go. It might be predetermined, but I've seen a lot of people get fucked up. And again,
Yeah.
especially right now in the state of the UFC and what have you, guys and girls that are actual legit fighters, which happen to be with a couple of my the Fam Bam from the 10 Planet HQ, right? Alex
Mm-hmm.
Magala, Michael Plaster, and whatever. And they were just like, oh my God, what the fuck, right? And the deal is like, jujitsu, you've got your Gordon Ryans and your AJ Agazarms, right? Who do a lot of pro wrestling promo work in their jujitsu, right? And they've
Mm-hmm.
transcended the sport. Gordon Ryan, he's one of the hot prospects. It's turnover. Same thing with Gary Tonin. Gary Tonin has fought for one, and he's a very, whether he knows it or not, he's a very pro wrestling deal. You got guys like fucking filthy Tom Lawler. You got, yeah, guys like Shayna Baszler who are legit mixed martial artists, and they're
Mm-hmm.
making way fucking more doing pro wrestling than they ever did, even in their highest kind of echelon in MMA. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't have one without the other, right?
And what I'm finding is the most successful mixed martial artists have a pro wrestling take
Yeah,
to their whole thing.
yeah,
And we're
the
talking about
presentation.
we're talking about their mic skills and their social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The only thing that's different is the actual combat.
Yep.
But 2/3 of what they need came from pro wrestling. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to all the pro wrestlers out there.
Hell yes! Shout out to the fighters, the pro wrestlers, and to me, it's one of the same. When you say combat sports, um, and and especially with like MMA, right? The thing about it is mixed martial arts is the acronym that MMA stands for, but a lot of people forget the art, right? Just like
Mm-hmm.
Picasso and Rembrandt painted on canvas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all these men and women do voodoo. I've done a dabbling in jujitsu, right? Whether you call it jujitsu, catch wrestling, sambo, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, whatever you want to, karate, right? Pro wrestling. It's all done on canvas. It's all done on mats, much like
Yep.
Rembrandt and Picasso. So you get to see these guys and girls basically paint their masterpieces with their blood, sweat, and tears. So yeah, then that's always going to be the most compelling thing to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm all with it. I'm all with it.
Yeah. So we had a whole lot of fucking combat sports. Again, the two GCW shows here in Southern California. There's a lucha show going on tonight. There was another Friday night show, and I believe it was Pomona. Then you had Bellator. You had UFC literally at the same time. There was early shows for the both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's shout out to Fearless Woman MMA. They had their
Yeah,
show
that's
down
the
in,
one.
yeah, in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like Tina Pettigrew and Jasmine Tapat Queen
Jaws.
Pouncy, Jocelyn Joss Fuller. Hell yes, man. So a whole lot of you didn't have to throw the spitball very far to get your
Mm-hmm.
fucking combat sports. And if you say no, combat sports is not my deal, there was something for everybody, and that's the thing that I love. There was something for everybody this weekend. And if you say I don't watch, then you don't watch. But don't dare say oh, I don't like it because it doesn't suit my fancy. Because guess what? There has been more kind of inclinations on what your individual or collective fantasies are, so there's something for everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So, yes, we start off this card with this one, to me, I thought was a bit of an upset. And nothing against Jonathan Martinez, but Zivad, the Georgian, right?
Mhm.
I thought he was going to fucking pull away, and there was a couple times where, you know, like I think the opening kind of stanza, he
Mhm.
cracks Jonathan Martinez, and it was almost really for me reminiscent
Mhm.
of Jalen Turner, Richard Leroy,
Mhm.
right? When
Mhm.
fucking Leroy gets cracked by fucking Jalen, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But somehow guts it, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of like seeing a person's soul in the
Mhm.
ring or the cage, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, not to say that lesser men would have faltered, but I mean, it takes a special person to fucking, you know, fucking have their literally like their jaw jacked and
Mhm.
fucking
Mhm.
continue on and end up winning a unanimous, winning all 3 rounds
Mhm.
against a fucking tough Georgian uh, fella. So
Mhm.
Jonathan Martinez definitely did that. He's 14-4.
Mhm.
Um, Man, it was fun.
Yes, Jonathan Martinez. I'm gonna go on the record and say that I am for this guy from now on.
Yeah.
Most definitely, he showed the next level in his game. He was able to show me with enough evidence that he has changed gear to the next level. And in my opinion, this was the fight of the night. Not
Mm.
not that Rodriguez versus Park.
Park, yeah.
Rodriguez and Park was good, but this was not only good, not only competitive, it was highly technical.
Right.
These two gentlemen showed you a glimpse of the future.
Hmm.
Before you know it, this will be the new standard.
Yeah.
What they did will be the new standard. It wasn't a slugfest. It was calculated moves. Everything was was I don't even have the vocabulary to describe it. It was where my mindset is headed. What I describe all the time. This was what we witnessed, and that was the opening match.
Yeah.
Jonathan Martinez deserved this win without a doubt.
No, I can't agree with you anymore. And again, I might have to do that too, and maybe not pick against Jonathan Martinez ever. Now the thing about it, the last kind of outing, he lost to David Grant. He got KO'd, right? So, and again, that's one of the pro wrestling and MMA kind of differences, right? Where a guy or a girl could lose an MMA and they're the shit of the earth, but in wrestling, people will
Mhm.
follow you, people buy your shirt and your merch, whether you win or lose, right?
Mhm.
They're ride or die theoretically,
Mhm. Uh,
and Jonathan Martinez has kind of had an up and down, go. He's had
mhm.
some awesome wins, but like he lost his very first fight in the UFC against Andre Sukumath,
Mhm.
who Albert Morales beat for his only UFC win, right?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
mentioned that because Albert will be defending his lights at Extreme Fighting
Next week.
bantamweight title. Actually, this like 6 days from now.
Yeah, I will be there too.
Same. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I will see
Yeah,
you there.
yeah. I will see you. Yeah, but that's Andre Sukumath before he gets let go from the company. Was riding pretty high without that Albert Morales loss, right? And then Martinez basically picks up two after the Sukumath loss. Then
Mhm.
he faces Andre Yule. That's always a tough fucking customer, right? And then wins two, and then loses to Davy Grant.
Mhm.
And was supposed to have 3 fights. All of them pulled out until the Sivad fight materializes. And my goodness, the welcoming committee was pretty fucking vicious to
Mhm.
one Georgia and Zivad. So
One
shout
one
out
thing
to Jonathan Martinez.
one thing that I will also say is after that knockout that he suffered, he came back
Yep.
he came back so improved that you you don't even remember he was just previously knocked out in his last fight. The
Mm-hmm.
way he performed against a quality opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? An undefeated opponent.
13-0.
He handed this dude his first loss. It's
Yep.
amazing. It's amazing. So our eyes are on you, Jonathan Martinez, and we will watch your career closely.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I'm excited. Again, this is bantamweight, so there's a lot of talented bantamweights. Not just in the UFC but the world over.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, the two competing at Lights Out Extreme Fighting Championship this very weekend in one defending bantamweight champion Albert Morales and former deep bantamweight champion the mongoose Victor Henry. So that shit is going to be good. It's crosstown rivalry. It's Black House versus UWF/CMMA. So that
Let's
shit is going to
go.
be fun as fuck, man.
Let's go. Let's
Uh,
go.
Hell yes. This one actually really surprised me. But we had the former Invicta 115-pound champion Lavinia Souza
Mm-hmm.
actually fall via unanimous decision to one
Mm-hmm.
Randa Marcos, and Randa
Mm-hmm.
Marcos is now 11-11. This is an official 50-50 record for Randa. But I mean, I thought this would have been Randa was coming into this fight 3 straight losses, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was
Yep.
it 3?
It
No,
was
4.
about three.
4.
4. Okay.
4.
Now,
Yes.
now, the last time we spoke about Randa, we spoke about her being a type of fighter that we want to watch.
Yeah.
Even though she has lost 4 in a row, the UFC didn't even consider cutting her. Maybe
Yep.
this was the match they might have cut her, but it wasn't happening. I mean, she went in there against a fighter that was 14-3,
Mhm.
and she performed.
A former world champion.
A former world champion at Invicta,
Invicta.
and she performed beautifully. Now, when I speak of jujitsu this and jujitsu that, I do not hate jujitsu.
No.
I just think jujitsu is, well, in the beginning when people didn't know about jujitsu, it was highly effective. But now we all know what's coming,
Yep.
and with wrestling, with that hybrid, which is what Randa Marcos brought to the table. That
Mhm.
wrestling, whatever Lavinia was trying to throw at her, she wrestled her way out of.
Yep.
She was caught 3 times in the same technique, and she got out the same exact way. And
Exactly.
Souza remained on her back and stagnant. If she had wrestling prowess, the changes in the match, the
momentum shifts.
the shifts in the match, she would have been able to keep up with. But Randa had that. And she was so big too. Did you see how big
Yes.
she was?
Yes.
So big. And,
Well,
and even though
I think Randa is only like 5'1", 5'1", maybe 4'11".
She's 5'4".
5'4", right? But
She's
it looked.
5'4".
I didn't think Randa Marcos was that tall, and then
her opponent was 5'3", but she was thick.
Yeah,
her
100%.
Her back. Did you see her back muscles?
Yeah.
The triceps.
Yeah.
You know, she's built to grab and hold and pull things tight. That's what, when you see the back all shredded like that, triceps and all that, that's that pulling muscle. You know what I mean? She's the type to do hundreds of pull-ups and things of that nature. So she's able to when she clamps on good. She put her on the fence. She kept her on the fence. It was just a grueling matchup, and Randa Marcos looked absolutely flawless in that matchup, man. She looked so good.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been in the UFC for years now, man.
Yeah.
She came in the Ultimate Fighter. She's always had that fighting spirit.
Mm-hmm.
She's always had that fighting spirit, and she looked phenomenal, man. And I'm so happy that, even though I picked against her, I'm so happy she won the way she did.
So
she reminded
decisively.
people. She reminded people of what she brings to the table, and that's to entertain not only the fans, but to also, make herself proud when she's in that octagon.
Yeah, no, this is a big win for her adopted country of Canada. A big win
Hmm.
for, I believe she's of definitely,
Iraq or something like that.
I believe it was Iran. And
Mm, Iran.
her family fled during the Civil War. Of the, I believe, late '80s, early '90s, and what have you. And this is, whether you call it the American dream or an immigrant story. You and I,
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
kind of first generation,
Hmm.
immigrants.
Hmm.
You were born here, weren't you?
I was born here, but I
Right,
I spent 10 years of my life in West Africa.
in West Africa. See,
Hmm.
but that's the thing. It's the immigrant story.
Hmm.
That no matter where you immigrate from or to, it's
Hmm.
that kind of prevailing sense of like, I have to make the most of the opportunity, especially if you're the first one of
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
particular generation or a particular family lineage to
Hmm.
make it. You,
That's right.
you have that spotlight that it shines a
Hmm.
little bit brighter,
Hmm.
yeah, in terms of pressure than other
And
people might.
I'm happy you mentioned that. I'm happy you mentioned that because we always talk about those people that come from them third world countries.
Hmm.
They always have a different hunger about them, and you can see it when she fights. Coming from Iraq, life ain't easy in Iraq, man. Women are marginalized and
Yeah.
such, and she was able to. Maybe she was doing really well in Iraq compared to others, right? It's still a third world country with not much to offer.
Right.
So arriving in Canada, she got to live her dream. She got to be a woman. She got to make her own choice. If this was Iraq, she wouldn't be doing this. She would be in the
Mm.
kitchen somewhere, covered up. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
is what it is. It's a fact. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't nobody get upset because it is true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fact. So, shout out to Ronda Marcos, man. Much respect.
Yeah. Much respect, and I love stories like that. And again, like I said, we both picked against her,
Hmm.
but maybe she was listening, on her way to Vegas from Canada
Right?
or what have you.
I'll
But
show you guys.
yeah, exactly. And I have, not to say I've never been happy to prove, get proven wrong, because, but that does happen, and this is a particular instance where that happened. So shout out to Randa for everything that she's given to the game thus far, and I can't wait to see what her future will bring.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
The fucking first KO of the night, the first finish of the night, happens in fight number three. We already had Jeff Molina and Daniel Da Silva, and this is one we predicted. Jeff Molina. I mean, they've both kind of been at it. When you look at El Jefe's pedigree, he's been at it since 2015, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's when he takes his first amateur fight. Fights all through. I mean, relatively in 6 years, he's had 25 fights. Wait, well, let's see what he's 10-2. Yeah, wait, I'm sorry. 10-2 plus another four. So 20 fights. 20, yeah, 20 fights that he's had, in 6 years. That's a hell of a deal, because most, fighters, especially when you get to like an elite level, you're only fighting 3 times a year,
Hmm.
right? So the
Hmm.
fact
Hmm.
that he's at 20, within a couple of years, shit, man. Like, he's been putting in the work with the glory camp of Zach Cummings and James
Hmm.
Krause,
Hmm.
right? So a
Hey,
shout out to
that name keeps coming up. James
right,
Krause this and James Krause that. That guy
yeah,
runs a tight ship, man. He runs
yeah,
a tight ship because every almost every student or pupil, their techniques. Jeff Molina, man, God damn, what a match he had against
yeah.
Daniel Da Silva. Da
Mhm.
Silva was no easy task.
No,
Da Silva was wow. Well, did
yeah,
we pick Jeff Molina to win this one?
yep. We both
I
did.
believe we did, huh? Yeah.
This is our first
Man,
unanimous. Yeah,
man. I don't understand why this man doesn't have fight of the night
yeah, thousand
performance of the
percent.
night. This fight also was more worthy of fight of the night, than the one that they picked, Park versus Rodrigo. I don't have anything against these people,
Right.
right? I don't have anything against these people, but there was nothing strategic about what they did. It was just a slugfest. I do not appreciate slugfest. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, how can you have scientists and you go ahead and give a street thug, no disrespect, a street thug the bonus? I mean, what's going on here? Jeff Molina, did you not watch that fight? Am I tripping or something, folks? Why don't y'all tell me if I'm wrong, man? Jonathan Martinez versus Zviad. Jeff Molina versus Daniel Da Silva is not better than the performance of the night candidates? Are you serious? What's going on here? I mean, first of all, they do a beautiful job of putting together a sleeper of a card.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to rewarding the participants, you just blow it. Well, what is this? What is this?
Yeah. You know what? I hope that maybe a pretty notable, promotion or just a promotion in general, right? Just like how they say about the shoddy, scoring and judging of MMA, right? Well, I think they should have like a fourth judge at the very least, right? And it's a fan, whatever, multiple, whatever. Who do you think? But they should also, in terms of just having Dana or whoever else, defers the bonuses, right? I think they should have a fan vote. Who did you guys think? And yeah, you tweet it. If they can do it for fucking American Idol, you mean to tell me they can't do it for this?
You're right. It's kind of upsetting, man.
It is.
Because to do what they do, Jeff Molina, Jonathan Martinez, Zviad, Daniel Da Silva, to fight in that manner. This is the future of fighting. Perhaps these people that are choosing can't see it yet. They're still stuck in the era of slugfest, and they can't see the science behind this. This is true martial arts being displayed. This is that stuff you see on TV. This is that Jackie Chan stuff that's being brought to real life. Do you not understand what's going on here? This is free flow, in effect. This is the ground floors of free flow, and you're missing a boat. These people work too hard not to be recognized for their talents.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, this is not a diss on the the actual recipients of the fight of the night bonuses. But I mean, again, if this is all about fans and everything like that, unless you just want to be almost like the WWE and don't care what the fans think, you want to just be the sleekest production, right? The sleekest facet of entertainment. And that's cool, but just don't get into the sanctity of pure sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the Olympics can fucking exile wrestling from the Olympics, then nothing is secret. Nothing, this die hard shit, it's gonna die, and when it dies, it's gonna die fucking hard.
You know what burns me the most is the fact that people who have no idea what it's like to be in there are the ones making the decisions to give whoever a bonus or whatnot. It really burns. It really burns me. Dana, he's the one that hands out the bonuses, right? I'm sure he talks to some people before he makes his final decision. Dana and those people, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Holla at your boy. I can do a way better job than that.
There you go. I like it. And you're somebody who has obviously fight experience, a entire lifespan in combat sports, but also disseminates information to the youth of a nation, right? Via your exploits as a coach, as a sensei, right? And you're also one who can articulate it, to the people that are novices, the people watching at home, those glorious filthy casuals, So I second that. Dana, hire voodoo.
Straight up, man. Hey, let's make things right. Let's make things right. These fighters work too hard in training camp and in everyday life, sacrificing time away from family or whatnot. and then they do such a good job, and you don't recognize them. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not that the other guys. I'm sure the other guys did a great job working and preparing as well, but they are not the cream of the crop,
Ooh.
and they're not the cream of the crop in regards to performance. Many other people perform even better than the people they chose. I'm specifically talking about fight of the night candidate.
Yes.
Just those pair. Just that pair. I'm not talking about the other two that were chosen. We will talk about those guys when we get to them. But so far, drop the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love earlier because you were saying, about the certain recipients of what Dana felt were the performance, earners and what have you. And you said that they aren't worthy. Whether you knew it or not, that was a nice little play on words because, ju- in the next fight, uh, Jai Herbert beats Karma Worthy. I don't think there's a better fucking crescendo or segue
Hey,
than that.
straight up. And one thing that we talked about the last time we discussed these people in the pre-show was Jai Hubbard is going to come in with a crisp boxing, and that he
Hmm.
did.
Yes,
Crisp boxing. I mean, those English folks, they're known for having technical boxing, and
technical.
yeah, it's like the Brazilians are known for jiu-jitsu. The
Yep.
English are known for boxing. That's what they do best. You know what I mean? And Karma
Fuck
Worthy,
catch wrestling too.
right. Now, Karma Worthy, the man, he's got mental toughness. He's got everything physical. However, I personally, my personal opinion, I
Yeah.
feel if he is removed from the camp that he is in and placed into, say, Izzy's
Jackson
camp,
Wink.
Jackson Wink, or those one of those,
Izzy's. Yeah.
yeah. If he's placed in there, you will see a new, improved, and you will see him grow exponentially, quickly. He is stuck in a regressed
State.
state of being or state of
Yeah.
learning. He is reading outdated books like the books we read in
Yeah.
high school, books from the 60s and the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure the books that we read are still at Inglewood
Oh, 100%.
and and and
Crenshaw.
and, and Crenshaw. They're still there, man. Them old
Mm-hmm.
ass textbooks. I believe Karma Worthy is stuck in that state of mind, which is why his game has yet to evolve
Yep.
since he's been in the UFC. And it's unfortunate. Jai Herbert, however, though he might not have the best grappling, I will say his textbook is from the 90s
Mm-hmm.
or early or late 90s to early 2000s, which is a lot better than 70s and 60s. You know what I mean? And this was the difference in the fight as he caught his opponent with a left hook that dropped him, and then he grounded and pounded him to oblivion to finish him. The referee had to come in there and save this man. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Worthy is he's a tough individual.
Yeah.
He's got great power. Now he needs to be taught how to wield that power in an appropriate manner.
Yeah. One thing I fear though, it might be too late by taking these, because I mean Karma Worthy going into, the season of the COVID era, fashions of the UFC, right? He was like a badass. He was like a knockout, long before uh what's his name? God, the fucking guy with the spinning kick. Goddamn.
It's a Barbosa.
No, 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 no. The one that went viral against Impa.
Yeah, I just saw him.
Yeah.
That's it. I
You
know the
know who
guy you're
I'm
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right? So, but then again, this era of the fighting during pandemic, I mean, he only has one win over Violent Bob Ross, which is a little bit more apropos than he would even bargain for, but Luis Pena. But then he's gone 0-3 with Otman Atazar, Jamie Malarkey, and Jai Herbert, and
Mm-hmm.
all of those being KO. All of those being KOs.
Yeah, kill or be killed. You know what I mean?
Right?
That's why. I mean, every single loss has been a KO.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking at. Oh well, I see a rear naked choke. He
No,
got
that that
knocked out.
that that Oh wait, the rear naked choke was
Yeah,
later. I mean, earlier
yeah,
in his career. Yeah.
early. It's kill or be killed with this guy, which is why I respect him. I respect his heart. I respect his fortitude. But something has to change.
Right.
Something has to change. You cannot continue to lose by knockout in this manner. Something has to change.
Yes. Yes. No. 100%. If you still want to form sentences correctly and not mumble rap your way through conversations like without a beat,
Mm,
like this is not the fucking deal. If you don't want dementia in your 50s and what have you, or
mm,
shooting yourself in the chest, right, so they can study your brain,
mm.
you might not want to fight this way. But if that's your deal, and I'm not trying to make light of any of those horrible tragedies, not at all, but just historically speaking, in historical context, that doesn't end well.
Yeah, man. It is what it is in regards to that. But we're gonna move on, man, because there's nothing else that we can say about that.
Nothing.
I mean, the man has to. I mean, he is the one fighting. He has to see what he needs to fix, and he has to have the courage to make the
Mm,
changes necessary. Um, I know that he might not want to leave the people he is with, but
right.
this is what he has to do if he wants to be successful doing what he does, because the game changes so fast. I mean, look from 2 years ago to now,
Yes.
how much has changed. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So time waits for no one, and karma worthy. MMA will not wait for you to catch up. The same
Ooh.
way the education system does not wait for all those kids that fall behind or fall through the crack. You know what I mean? Nothing will be done, nothing will be changed, and it is what it is. Now we're moving on to Jamie Pickett versus
Yes.
Leonos Staropoli. Unanimous decision by Jamie Pickett. I have no question or no doubt about this unanimous decision win. Jamie Pickett did what he had to do. He controlled the fight. He controlled the distance. He did everything right, and he won by unanimous decision. What say you, champ?
No, I agree 100%. And unfortunately, the Argentinian had no no answers for the questions that Jamie Pickett was physically imposing on him.
Mm-hmm,
No answers at all, at all.
mm-hmm,
And again, this is nothing against Laureano, but just like we
mm-hmm,
were talking about Carmen Worthy,
mm-hmm,
he's a mess. And going into this, a 9-4 record, with maybe not the best of gyms,
mm-hmm,
and that's the thing. And who's to say that even if he got with a Jackson Wink or a Black House or CSW or CMMA or Glory MMA or
mm-hmm,
American Top Team or Brazilian Top Team or Shoot Box and what have you, that would improve things. And that's the question about fighters. I mean, hell, a lot of people attributed Paulo Costa, kind of missteps, right? On the fact that he has a gym built around him, right?
mm-hmm,
But with that formula, when it's good, rises to the echelon of being in title contention. But when it's
mm-hmm,
bad, you come in fucking severely overweight and fight
mm-hmm,
your what was supposed to be like an almost an eliminator fucking fight into a
mm-hmm,
catch weight. So that's the thing. So I don't know, but again, this is it's not our kind of assessment isn't a diss on the Argentinian. It's just in this particular matchup, if you're of the ideology of styles make fights, Jamie Pickett is planning, preparation, and
mm-hmm,
performance. Those three P's are essentially what you know what earned him the victory. So
mm-hmm,
shout out to Jamie Pickett. I'm very, very fucking excited to see who they match him up with, because now he's 12-6 rather than
mm-hmm,
11-6. That looks a
mm-hmm,
little bit more sexy, you know.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, man,
mm-hmm,
I'm excited. I'm super excited, but it's kind of crazy because we went from there was like a pace, right? There was an order. We had two decisions, two unanimous decision, two KOs, and
mm-hmm,
then two unanimous decisions. So
mm-hmm.
Piquet and Starpoli, one of them, and the other being former LFA 115-pound champ, one
Mhm.
Tabitha Ricci
Mhm.
against her fellow Brazilian countrywoman,
Mhm.
Maria Oliveira, which
Yes.
Maria Oliveira looked a little bit different than
Mhm.
she does, when she stepped into the cage
Mhm.
versus when the fucking pre-fight pictures.
Mhm.
He's
Mhm.
almost a completely different person,
Mhm.
but that's another story for another day. But
Yes.
Tabitha Ricci basically dominating all 3 rounds,
Mhm.
earning herself a unanimous decision and
Mhm.
climbing to 6-1 from 5-1 before
Mhm.
she entered the UFC octagon last night. Your
Yes.
thoughts?
This uh Maria Oliveira really impressed me.
Yeah,
She really, really impressed me.
yeah,
First fight in the UFC, and she fought the way she fought.
yes,
The
she did.
only thing, the only thing that Tabitha Ricci did better than her was wrestling.
Yep.
She couldn't strike better than her.
No.
Her striking was not on the same level. Maria
No.
was the better striker.
Yeah.
She had a body type in which her arms and legs are really long, and she used them to a T. Right? When you're built like that, you have to use your attributes, and she did that, and she's very good at doing that. So Tabitha Ricci, being a mixed martial artist as she is, she was like, okay, time to change things here. My speed alone is not enough. She's very explosive, by the way, Tabitha Ricci.
Yes, she is.
Uh, she's very, very quick. So she was trying to strike in the beginning. She landed a few, but then Maria figured out the distance and the timing and all that. So instead of striking to the face, she went for the takedowns and all that. And this is where she won the match. Time on top, time controlling the opponent was where she won the match. She didn't really do damage,
Yeah.
but she did control her opponent, and that was enough to win the match. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do when you have an opponent that won't go away. Tabitha Ricci did what she had to do, and she got the W, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters, man. Metallica says nothing else matters, and that
Nothing else matters.
that's it, man.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, both. I just love the evolution. All right, because we're what 10 years, 11 years removed of Dana basically telling TMZ that women will never fight in the UFC, right?
Mhm.
And we get amazing matchups like this, stylistically. And again, like you were saying about Tabitha Ricci's opponent of the night, one Maria Oliveira.
Mhm.
For somebody who made their promotional debut and fought as well as she did as a former world champion, because LFA champions, because it's been contested all over the world.
Mhm.
The title's been defended and won in places like Brazil and
Mhm.
other places around the world. So it
Mhm.
is a world championship.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, this makes me beam of joy.
Mhm.
And also, like Alex was saying, right, about the blood sport. There was 2 fucking kick-ass matches. That were female. They were all kick-ass matches, but the
Mhm.
females of both Marina Shafir and Masha Slamovich, as well as what I believe was the fight of the night on Friday night for Bloodsport, one uh, uh, Karen Tran, KZT, against Zeta Zhang. It was
Mhm.
one for the ages. So I just love where all competition is going. I wouldn't be surprised in this card somebody doesn't take the mantle, and within the next 5 years, one of these combatants will be even the people that might have not been on the winning side of the record. Um, one of them, if not, a few of them, a handful of them, will be future world champions.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not mad at that. I mean, the UFC is doing a great job of harvesting new talent, and Maria Oliveira is a great come up. I just pray that somebody throws a whole lot of wrestling her
Yep.
way so she
Mhm.
can rise up and be what she is destined to be, man. She is a beautiful and magnificent. The future is bright. with wrestling. With wrestling, the future is bright because she has jujitsu, right? She didn't take damage because of her jujitsu prowess.
Nope.
That's why she didn't take any damage on the ground.
Yeah.
However, the wrestling will grant her an opportunity to stand back up and get to where she needs to be. Scramble. She needs to learn the scramble and get back up to where she's strongest, which is her striking. Now, when we talk about UFC harvesting new talent, David Onama versus Mason Jones was another fight that's worthy of fight of the night because oh man,
sir,
David Onama impressed me, man. God damn, he impressed me.
Yes.
The man is on a whole nother level. And once again, if wrestling is introduced to the man, well, actually, he's missing grappling. He's missing grappling, which is a hybrid of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He needs to immerse himself in some good old grappling, and beating him will be a problem. He toe tagged Mason Jones. Mason Jones tried to stand with him in the beginning, but and Mason Jones, being a mixed martial artist that he was, quickly realized that I cannot beat this man standing. So what do I do next? Plan B, jiu-jitsu, grappling, grind him out. And even so, at the end of the match, if you were to look at a picture of both of them, you would have thought that David Onama actually won the match.
Right.
Onama. That is the actual pronunciation. Onama. That is the African pronunciation. Onama is the American pronunciation. Onama. Pronounce that. The boy has got talent. You know what I mean? Two Africans with some serious talent. I'm very impressed. And like I said, this is another worthy match of fight of the night. And how can you not give these two people bonuses?
That's what I'm saying. No, I agree with you.
Both fighters deserve bonuses.
Yeah. And again,
go ahead.
Oh, good. No. 8-0, Onama going into this, right? And a champion of a different organization, right? And Mason Jones, before he suffered his defeat at the hands of Mike Davis, back in January of this year of 2020, was coming in undefeated, right? So these are like literally, two of the shining stars of their local promotions and scenes, kind of facing each other, and it's really fucking good, really fucking good.
I couldn't believe what I was watching, man.
Yes.
Reach. Mason Jones had to dig so deep to get this W. He had to. It was his takedown that did it. You know what I mean? His wrestling that did it. It wasn't anything else that he did. It was the wrestling that did it.
Yeah.
To get him to the ground and hold him down and keep him down. He tried to smash him, but he couldn't smash him because the kid had too much life in him.
Yes.
And his light was not going to be snubbed out. Excuse me. Even in defeat, he didn't lose. Even in defeat, he did not lose because his performance was that great. At the end, he was smashing Mason Jones, and he ran out of time. That's what happened. He ran out of time. If it was real life, I believe Onama would have killed him.
Yeah, and that's a scary proposition to enter. But that is the fact of the matter. So, holy shit, man. I agree with you.
Now, speaking of fight of the night, we get to the
fight
actual number 8, Gregory Rodriguez versus Jun Young Park. This was a good match, right? It was a good match for the uninitiated. But we are initiated. We know what's up.
Yes.
We know what's up. We
100%.
know true skills. We know true talent. Not to say these gentlemen didn't have talent, but slugfest don't impress me anymore. It doesn't take much to slugfest. You just have to be able, you just got to be willing to take a bunch of shots. That's what slugfest does. That's all it is to me now, man. I've seen too many fights to appreciate a slugfest. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate what this man did. I'm not saying I don't, but fight number 7 far outperformed what they
Yeah,
did.
1,000%.
Fight number 7 far outperformed what they did. Now
Yep.
I'm gonna go a little bit further and touch on just for a second Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. I don't appreciate slugfest. I'm sorry. That was another slugfest. You know what I mean? People were like, "Oh man, boxing is back." Blah 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 blah. That was a slugfest. And I'm not interested in slugfest. I want to see science. I want to see scientific performances. And Gregory Rodriguez and Jun Young Park gave me a slugfest. Now I will give Gregory Rodriguez shout out for staying conscious because he was rocked.
Yeah.
He was rocked.
Yeah, it
He was
was
rocked and he was on his
zombie.
way out. Yeah, he was in zombie mode and he happened to clip his opponent, and that was that. Jun Young Park, I believe, didn't feel he was good. He was supposed to win that match. Deep in his heart, he felt
Yeah.
he was gonna lose. So when he had the opportunity, he went ah, and then he got clipped.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He should have been more confident in himself, and most important, he should have been more confident in his abilities. He had better striking, better than Gregory Rodriguez, and he put himself in a situation where he himself got knocked out, and that was sad.
Yes, and those are those people, right? They kind of, maybe a poor decision or what have you, and they're like, "Oh no, it's a Dennis. What is it? It's something that I manifested, right? It's the destiny that got manifested to me." He's like, "No, it's not fucking destiny. It may not be destiny. Maybe it's a shit decision making. Maybe it's a poor mindset. Maybe it's a mental defect. Fuck, I've got him. I suffer from imposter syndrome, a bit, or maybe more than a little bit, right? So I'm just saying, like I figured it out, but you said it, if you think you're gonna lose, you might lose.
Yeah, I didn't see confidence because once he clipped Gregory, the way he went in there for the kill was a little bit too aggressive. Someone of his talent shouldn't have been there. I mean, if you can clip him once, you can clip him again. You know what I mean? You don't. I mean, as Jun Young was attacking, Gregor was firing back. That's when you gotta
Mhm.
pace it, man. One of them shots can hit you back, and Gregory was much larger than Jun Young Park,
Yes, he
much
was
larger. The size was
100%
advantage was clear. I mean,
huge.
Rodrigo was just shredded and just yoked and massive.
Mhm.
I
He
mean,
looks like a creative player on the UFC game,
right,
right?
right.
Like,
He looked like Kratos from God of War.
yeah,
Kratos,
100%.
he looked like that dude without the painting on his face. He's chiseled, man, like a Greek god, a Brazilian
Mhm.
Greek god, man. I mean, sometimes he, I don't know, man. I don't know what Park was thinking, but he let his anxiety get the best of him, and this is the only reason he lost.
Yeah.
Gregory didn't beat him; he beat himself,
Hmm.
and that was that.
Yeah, that is that. But shout out to former LFA, 185-pound champion Gregory Rodriguez on his win. But
Yeah,
I mean,
and
again,
and
oh god,
and Smash Global Champion.
Smash Global Champion as well,
Mhm.
100%. Which again, you remember how I was saying that there's a pattern, right? And the pattern has been like unanimous decision, KO,
Knockout,
KO,
knockout.
decision, and then we had a decision in the Mason Jay's David Onama matchup. But then we had the KO of the Rodriguez and Junior Park, and then Nick Negumereanu uh, basically climbed to 11-1 with a bit of a hurricane, a mollywhopping of Hurricane Ike Villanueva. I don't think I mean, this was another one of our unanimous pick. I thought Ike would at least get to the second round, but Nick had other intentions.
Hey, before I talk about these two people, uh, I think you should reach out to David Onama for an interview.
Hell yes.
Yeah, according to Wood's interview. He's a
Ooh.
prime candidate. I bet you he's got a story to tell. I guarantee you, man. I guarantee you. The way he fought, I guarantee you he's got a story to tell. But like he was saying about Nick Negumi, whatever his name is, versus Ike,
You know what we need? You know what's coming, right? You know what's fucking coming. We got the 4-name pronunciation classes by Voodoo Maximus because for one easy payment of $9.99.99 or 4 easy payments of $4.99.99, you can pronounce names like the aforementioned. What was it? Nick? No, whatever the fuck, Corona. Whatever the fuck, Corona.
Negumiriano. Something like that, man. Versus Ike Villanueva.
You know what's gonna happen, right? Because I actually shout out to GQ magazine because they have been running this series of like different people and how they spent their first $1 million, right? And they had Mr. Israel Adesanya. Yeah, absolutely. And he was talking. He showed the belt off and how the legacy belt is the little diamond or whatever, or the ruby, and the name of the person, right? So theoretically, if the current champion in this particular division, which is Jan Blachowicz, right?
Yes.
Let's say if Nick ascends to championship level performance and whatever, and gets thwarted in his tax. Imagine because they actually fucking carve in the name of the person you beat next to the ruby. So imagine that shit. It's almost like my mom's maiden name, Wangani Sanini, which it fucking falls out for her fucking driver's license. So I'm just saying.
This dude has 11 letters in his last name. What the hell? 11 letters.
Okay, so my middle name is Kamakamida. That's K-A-M-M-I-C. No, M-I-K-M-I-C-A. I don't know how
That's
many
about
letters
9, right? That's about 9.
That's 9, and then if I had no, I think I spelled it wrong. My wife is.
Spell it again.
Jesus Christ! I'm on the spot.
Hey, you better buy some of that.
I know that fucking causes man. It's K. Oh wait, it's definitely K-A-M-M-I-C-A. M-I-K-M-I-C-A. There we go. But it's nothing compared to my mom. Like, if not my mom, be. Apparently, I fucked it up again. It's
she wrote it for you.
Yeah, she did. There you go, folks. That's how you spell it. My brain, I think it's my brain COVID fog, but I keep on going back to that. So I don't want to fucking lean on that. But I mean, something's different in the whole noggin and whatever. But if I essentially had my mom's maiden name, it would be Wangani Sanini, and that I can fucking spell. It's WAQANAISANINI. That's 15 letters long.
Wow.
And none of it sounds like what it's supposed to be. So I'm just saying. And again, my middle name falls off of my driver's license. They have to create another line for me. But yeah, Nick. Nick fucking beat the shit out of his opponent of the night in Ike Villanueva. Ike Villanueva, a tenured veteran, 18-13 now, right? He's somebody who came in as a heavyweight, and pretty soon after, that fight with the fucking Chase Sherman, where he gets KO'd in the second round. That was his UFC debut. Then he gets cut by Jordan Wright, and this is kind of a disappointing run, which I believe this will be Ike Villanueva's swan song with the company at this juncture, because he loses to Chase Sherman, gets KO'd by him, and then I think that was at heavyweight, moves down to 205 in light heavyweight, right? Actually, no, that was yeah. So Chase Sherman was heavyweight, and then this fight with the Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright. He gets a stop because of a cut that he sustained during the fight, right? Then his only win is a overhand right KO against Vinicius Moreira,
That's his
and
bread and butter.
right, that was it. But then losing another, he goes 0-2 against Marcin Porcino and then Nick. So, and getting KO'd, the body kick of Marcin that shut down everything in his fucking central nervous system, right? And then Nick, he gets KO'd. So, yeah, but I mean, this was a unanimous pick for us that Nick just had all of the fucking tools at least to beat one Ike Villanueva.
Yeah, I think you picked Nick, man. I
Okay.
picked Ike. I picked Ike because of his Texan accent. I love the way he talks. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang on down, man. You know what I mean,
Boom,
man?
man,
Dang
Hank
on,
Hill.
man.
Yeah, Hank Hill be sending all that propane.
I like to thank my sister Sally. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
We're gonna be
French fried
partying down.
potato, French fried
We're
potatoes. I like my French fried potatoes. Yeah.
gonna be drinking some Budweiser, some
Budweiser,
Steve
Bud Light,
Weisers.
Steve Weisers. Yeah, Jesus Christ. We're big in Texas.
Shout out to Texas.
Yeah, man. Shit. This one was a fun one, showing that, and it's funny because MMA on Point basically just did a top 10 of fighters that you thought they were about to retire on their last legs, and they end up having a whole nother run in them. And I think I haven't seen the list, but I wouldn't be surprised if one Francisco Trinaldo is on that list because he fights. I mean, he beat a tough Dwight Grant, all right, and Dwight Grant trains at AKA. He beat fucking Alan Joban, at the undercard of Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier too, you know. But he runs into guys like D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, where he gets KO'd in the first round, and then Stefan Sekulik, he gets a split decision win, but then he loses via split decision to the wily veteran in Francisco Trinaldo.
I mean, Francisco Trinaldo, he's been in the UFC since 2012, and he came in the Ultimate Fighter Brazil House 1, Season 1. He was part of that crew, and he's been in the UFC since. He came in as a 155er.
Yes, he did.
And the man, like we say about those people that come from poor countries, man, from the favelas, man, this guy, he made a career out of the UFC. We spoke about someone last week that's also made a career out of the UFC. What's that old fella's name?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I know exactly. Because he's about the same age range.
He beat Ghost Pepper.
Yeah. Fucking Jim Miller.
Miller, yes. I mean, not everyone gets to make a career out of the UFC, man.
Yeah.
I mean, 2012 to now, we're talking some 10 years. You know what I mean?
And the evolutions that have happened. Everybody
Right?
wants to fucking do these submissions, and everybody wants to fucking, Conor McGregor fucking shoulder roll or whatever, and walk like think of all of the evolutions that happened. We're talking, fighting on like what Foxwoods 1 or maybe even fucking Versus, right? Back in the day to now fighting in ESPN, right? So that's a lot of evolution to happen in that time in regards to the sport. And Francisco Trinaldo, much like Jim Miller before him, in the fight night before him, has kind of figured a way to kind of weather the storm. I would even say Alexei Olenek. Holy shit, man, the bow constrictor. He's one of those guys that at any given moment this shit could end for his opponents,
Yes.
So these fucking crafty ring generals, these cage generals that have figured it out, and fight their fight and impose their will on, in some instances, fighters that are half their age.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what one thing that Trinaldo brings to the table is a huge gas tank,
Yes, he does.
a huge gas tank, and a huge heart. The man refuses to lose. You're gonna have to strangle him or put him in a compromising position, like some kind of bone twisting
Like a
submission,
bow and arrow, fucking
like
weird shit.
something
Yeah.
ridiculous, because he's not the type to tap to. He's never been knocked out. I haven't seen him be knocked out. He doesn't
Mhm.
knock him out. He loses by unanimous decision, meaning he was competitive, right? Split decision, unanimous decision. That's how he loses, and submission, right? You will have to like choke him out or or something of that nature. He doesn't get knocked out. He's a tough individual. He comes to win every single time. He is not afraid of anyone, right? He's not afraid of anyone. And I mean, he's beaten some really, really good people, man. He's beaten
Yes,
some
he
really,
has.
really good people. The only people that's been able to beat him are people who can fight backwards, who can
Yes.
move fighting backwards. When it's on the feet, they're able to fight moving backwards. You know what I mean? I mean, he's beaten Paul Felder for Christ's sakes,
Yeah, 100%.
and we all know what's up with Paul Felder.
Yes.
He's beaten Jim Miller, the guy that we're
Jim
talking
Miller.
about.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know what I mean?
You know,
He's beaten OG Bobby Green.
OG
Come
Bobby
on,
Green, fucking
come on,
Ross
man.
Pearson, Stormy
Right,
Norman Park,
right.
fucking Yancy Medeiros, arguably, teammate of the one of the greatest 145ers of all time, Max Bless Holloway, right?
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on.
Hey,
Evan Dunham,
come on,
fucking
man.
stops Evan Dunham with the fucking knee to the liver.
Come
You
on,
know,
man.
yeah, dude, fighting on fucking FX. You remember that I was talking about like iterations and evolutions of the sport? He was on UFC FX, both 7 and 8, right? Within 4 months. When that shit, I mean, when cards, right? We kind of get spoiled in this kind of UFC COVID era of ESPN where there's a damn, fight every weekend. But our
Mm-hmm.
fights weren't hard to come by, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
literally in this kind of scenario where Trinaldo is fighting both CJ Keith and CJ Keith and Mike Rio and finishes him the exact fucking way with the arm triangle choke, right? There's the UFC essentially fight night card, what we now know as fight night cards, uh, a damn pay per view, and then another fight night card, a month and a half away. And he showed up and literally beat the two guys the same damn way.
Hey, respect to Trinaldo, man. Man's
Yeah.
43 years old. He's got the cardio of a 20-year-old. I mean, why stop? Why stop if you're outperforming youngsters? I picked Dwight Grant to beat him
Yeah.
based on that age discrepancy.
Yeah.
And he went in there and showed the young fella that no, man. We don't play like that. And
Yeah.
shout out to Francisco Trinaldo. Now, when we talk about performance bonus, now that's someone who deserves a performance bonus.
Yes.
But we're gonna move on and go on to Alex
Wait,
Caceres. Go ahead.
one last deal. So Thor Skanky yesterday on the According to Woods podcast mentioned of an instance where he's actually looking for another fight. He would love to compete for the Lights Out Extreme Fighting Championship. Don't know which weight that would be at, but he's definitely interested because he actually wants to lose because he is somebody who's a coach, right? Who's a coach at what I mean, he owns his own gym, 101 Boxing in Newberry Park, California, along with training at various gyms under the tutelage of the great Gabe Rudinger, former WEC champ, right? So with that all being said, he actually wants somebody to beat him because it's giving him a false sense of hope. The fact that you know he's hanging with these young cats, right? And I'm not saying that's the case with Ronaldo. I don't know Ronaldo or whatever, but with that being so, Thor's analogy is so fresh in my mind, I think maybe that's what either Ronaldo is either trying to fight out his contract or the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he wants somebody, one of these young guns, to fucking take the mantle from
Mm-hmm.
him,
You know,
and beat him decisively.
Going back to the beginning of Trinaldo, my first introduction to him in the Ultimate Fighter house, he seemed to me. He reminds me of Alex Pereira, the new
Yes.
acquisition. He reminds me of that. Uh, we got nothing. Fighting is all we got, and this is how we gonna eat, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what he reminds me of, Francisco Trinaldo, because I remember when he would speak, I would read the subtitles, and pretty much this is what he was saying. He wasn't from the Amazon like Alex Pereira, but he comes from the favelas, and there's nothing. There's no opportunities, nothing. The man had to fight with these to put food on the table. And I believe he doesn't have any other skills but these because he's put his entire life into these. So for him taking another fight, it's just another day at the office, man. He's
Yeah.
punching in the clock when they call him in, and he's punching out 15 minutes later, and he doesn't have to fight for the next few months. And the kids are gonna eat, wife's gonna be happy, she's gonna cook or whatnot, and that's his life. That's his life. Americans, uh, they always how can I put this without hurting anyone's feelings? Americans tend to not appreciate what they have.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Americans tend to not appreciate what they have, and they always overlook the opportunities that this country has granted them. You know, I see it all the time. I see it all the time. They're never satisfied. You know, um, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like a man like Francisco Trinaldo, if he had the opportunities of an American, I believe his life will be different because he's
Yeah.
got drive. He's got drive and he's got a will to succeed. And as we saw yesterday, the will to succeed is still shining bright and burning bright. And this is why he was able to beat the young man by split decision. Shout out to Francisco Trinaldo once again.
Yeah, man. OGs, man.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely love it. Now, in terms of I mean, Alex Casares, Bruce Leroy, he's not exactly the elder statesman, but in this in particular instance, for reference sake, even at 33 years old, he's a
Mm-hmm.
tenured vet, um, at least in regards to the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, he's on a 5 fight win streak right
Mm-hmm.
now, and again, he basically thwarted Sung Woo Choi. He does it by
Mm-hmm.
rear naked choke. And I mean, talk about rear naked chokes and bread and butter and what have you. He's had
Mm-hmm.
several, but he's also been defeated by none other than Kron Gracie via the same way. But I mean, this is somebody that has been in the UFC at one time or another since shit. UFC on Fox 160. Oh, no. Fucking UFC
Release.
on Fuel. Demasio Page. Holy shit, man. That's how long fucking Alex Caceres has been on. UFC on
11
Versus.
years or so.
11 fucking years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
really getting, and, on Ultimate Fighter season 12, but then also, fights, at the Ultimate Fighter season 27 finale.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
holy shit, man.
When we talk about making a career out of the UFC, even though the UFC is quote unquote an opportunity, Alex Caceres has somehow managed to make the UFC a career, man. I really hope that Alex has saved his money and is doing right because once this ride is over, I would hate to see him hurting for money. I really hate to see because he's done so much for the sport. He's done so much. I mean, the plethora of competition that he's faced has been endless, man. I mean, he's just phenomenal. I mean, long ago he stopped chasing the title, and what he decided to do was chase the money. And I'm not mad at him, man. You got to feed yourself, and if all the skills you got is fighting, then do what you can to get the most money for your buck as possible. And he's doing that. He's doing that. He's a very intelligent mixed martial artist. In the cage, he does his very best to protect himself. Even though Sung Woo was able to land a clean shot on him that stunned him, put him to the ground, and while he's defending himself on the ground, Sung Woo made a rookie mistake of kneeing him while he was on the ground. And that knee cost Sung Woo the championship. He was supposed to win that match, but when he kneed Alex on the ground, a knee that I don't feel hurt Alex that much because Alex was already stunned from the punch that dropped him in the first place. That knee did not do the damage that the punch did. However, because it was an illegal shot, Alex Caceres was granted the opportunity to recover. And that recovery cost Sung Woo Choi the match. Sung Woo was destined to win, but his own mistake cost him the matchup. Alex Caceres was able to recover, buy himself some time. He studied his opponent, and he knew his opponent would come in hot. And when his opponent came in hot, he ducked under the arm. When he ducked underneath, he hooked his body, found his way to the back, jumped on his back, and eventually was able to secure the rear naked choke. Alex Caceres, I believe, is a high-level grappler. I believe he's a brown belt, if not a black belt in jiu-jitsu or grappling. So going against Sung Woo, it was very easy for him to get the finish. Once he jumped on his back, he started punching him, and he sunk in that rear naked choke beautifully, and he was able to secure a submission of the night victory, which was phenomenal. I have no discrepancy or any argument about him getting a performance of the night bonus. He was due to get I believe that was the only submission victory of the night.
That was
really. It was all knockouts, with the exception of that submission.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We even saw a damn double DQ, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, shout out to Alex Caceres, and the recipient of an extra $50,000 for his trouble. You know, and like you said, you know, hopefully he invested that money well. Maybe bought some Shiba Inu or whatever the fuck. But
furthermore, I'm sorry to jump in on you like that. Furthermore, if you're a fighter and you are aspiring to be a champion, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just want you to remember one thing. While the federation holds a championship in front of you like this, understand that they are cleaning up shop and running all the way to the bank. While you are idolizing a belt, they are stacking millions and millions that you deserve. So while you're fighting, trying to be a champion, you're missing out on some cash. I also understand that one of the ways to the millions is by having the belt. It gives you leverage, and it gives you an opportunity to fly in the jets, to represent the company or whatnot. But don't forget, you're supposed to be representing you first and foremost. You know what I mean? And the only way you can represent yourself first and foremost is to get paid as much as possible, right? So what you need to do as a fighter, yes, strive for championship, right? Strive for championship, which I believe is an illusion. That championship being the best or whatever, it's an illusion because no one truly is the best. Because no matter how good you are, there's always someone better. Because if you can understand that, then you will understand what I'm saying to you right now. It ain't about the belt. It's about stacking as much money as possible. Now, who is a champion in the 170-pound 170-pound division or the 155-pound division? Right? Who is the champion?
Was it Izzy and
Izzy.
Volky, right?
Right, Izzy and Volky, right? Right. Okay.
What is it?
Actually, 175-pound is Usman.
Usman, right? Yeah.
Now you can't tell me that Masvidal don't push more weight than Usman. You can't tell me that Nate Diaz doesn't push more weight
Mm-hmm.
The champion. They are able to do this by building their platform. They're
Yep.
able to do this by building their mic skills. You don't need a belt. You don't need a belt or someone to point at you and call you a champion to to acquire what you seek in life. It's great to be a champion. Don't get me wrong. I would like to be a champion, but I also know in the back of my mind that that belt was not gonna feed my kids. It ain't gonna feed my kids because once that belt's gone, that plane, that private jet goes with it. So why not stack your own chips and do like Nate Diaz did?
Mm-hmm.
Hire your own private jet that's
Yep.
gonna take you, and you could be like the champ. You can do this yourself. Is all I'm saying. You can do this yourself. So there you go. That's all. That's what I wanted to say. Jessica
No.
Rose Clark.
Yeah, Jessica Rose Clark, the fucking dancing machine that she is. Holy shit, she was dancing in the octagon. She was dancing, you know, like as they were getting ready to fight and everything like that. She is at the CSA gym, I believe, in Sacramento, Northern California. But holy shit, man. Jessica Rose Clark really putting on the pressure on Panama's Jocelyn Edwards. She wins all 3 rounds. Shit, man. What say you?
Jocelyn Edwards, I will have to admit, over there at where does give me 1 second.
Panama?
Jocelyn Edwards has really improved at King's MMA, man.
Yes.
Her takedown defense is much better. The 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu that she's been doing is doing wonders for her. But I believe what King's MMA is doing best for her is wrestling, right? Her striking, not wrestling. I'm sorry, striking. Her striking is has improved from the last time I saw her to now. Huge improvement. But yet her takedown defense is not where it needs to be, right? I believe she's spending too much time doing jiu-jitsu. Don't get me wrong, I like jiu-jitsu, but I believe the combination is the key to a successful mixed martial arts career. The combination. You can't just be two wrestling or two jiu-jitsu. You've got to put them both together. In regards to the ground game, there has to be a union to be a major contender in the UFC as a grappler. You need that. The two has to be synonymous, right? Her striking is great, but her striking is great. Her jiu-jitsu is great, but she still lacks in the wrestling department, which is where Jessica Rose Clark was able to beat her. Jessica Rose Clark was able to take the fight and change the dynamics of the fight by taking it to the ground, right? Putting her on the fence. When it came to striking, Jocelyn was actually the better striker.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards was the better striker.
Yep.
Right? But Jessica Rose Clark, being the complete fighter that she is, she was able to take that away from Jocelyn. And that's why she won by unanimous decision. She changed where the fight was taking place, took away her opponent's greatest weapon, and left her with mediocre weapons.
Yeah.
While she was doing her thing. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, man. And again, Jessica Rose Clark, there's a certain je ne sais quoi that I have on people with tattooed faces that might not be a tribal member or what have you, but even still, she's a dancing machine. She has an enigmatic personality that I think will serve her well. She kind of reminds me a bit of Rowdy Beck Rollins, but I think she's a little bit way better equipped for this kind of tenure in the UFC than one Rowdy Beck Rollins was at the same time period, right? So,
Agreed.
I think there's a lot of money. I think there's a lot of money. I think she could be. I'm not saying in the bad way, but everything that the UFC wanted out of Mike Perry, she might be the female version with way less drama. So I like it. I like it.
And she's prettier.
She's prettier. Yeah, I will agree that she's prettier than Mike Perry. 100%. 100%. So, holy shit, we are at the co-main event of the evening. Now that's the most pomp and circumstances you're going to get out of this looking fight, as this shit was it was a shit show that ended up in a fucking draw. But obviously, we're going to mention the gentlemen's names because just because they went to a draw, it doesn't mean that Grant Dawson or Ricky Glenn are any less fighters. But another asterisk got put to Grant Dawson's name. Right, he was 17-1 going into this. Now he's 17-1-1, and this is the second time that Ricky Glenn has basically got a draw
Mm-hmm.
because he's 22-6-2.
Mm-hmm.
So what say you? Was this the nut shots and the fucking DQs and shit? Was that this fight?
Yeah, there was some discrepancies here, which changed the outcome of the match. But primarily, what happened here was Grant Dawson. Uh, he invested a lot in his grappling. He wanted the submission. He went after him hardcore within the first two rounds. Ricky Glenn was calm. He was calm. Uh, and with the point taken away, it kind of balanced things out a little bit. But Dawson was on his way to to losing this match if there was another 2 minutes left on the clock. I believe he gas himself out. I mean, when you grapple, it takes a lot of energy to grapple, and this man was able to persistently attack with grappling for 10 minutes. It's not easy to do that in a real fight. To attack with just grappling for 10 minutes. He did that though. And he even continued in the third round uh, before he, slowed down a bit. And then Ricky Glenn, started doing his thing. He was pounding him out. He was pounding him out real good at the end there when the bell rang and he ran out of time. I would like to see this fight again. It was beautiful. It was excellent display of jiu-jitsu / grappling. Ricky Glenn, excellent defense. Being a former champion himself, he knew what it took to survive such an attack, and he did that. Ricky Glenn, 22-6. He has lots of experience, so he's seen it before. But I don't believe he's seen someone of Grant Dawson's ability.
Right.
I don't think he's seen that before, but now he has. And if that fight happens again, I see a different outcome. I see someone either losing or winning here. It won't be a draw again. If they fight again, it won't be a draw.
No, it wouldn't. But like you were saying, 155 is currently ruled by the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And scrolling across the Tapology ticker, you've got Mr. Number 15, Daniel D. Rodriguez, and it is saying that, he kind of wants to, he's basically put everybody in the top 10 of that
On
100.
notice.
Yes, 100%.
Straight up.
Right? So these two are not even in the top 15, right? So I don't think there's too many. There isn't any incentive for them to run it back. Yes, this is a disappointing deal, but this is no title aspirations. This is not a ranking, what have you. So I actually hope that they don't revisit this, because if you're going to lose brain cells anyway, it should be on the biggest stage for the biggest purse, and I
True.
don't
I
think
agree.
running this back helps either fighter, to be absolutely honest. Like, I would want to move on from this kind of menagerie,
Yes.
just like, who is it that was saying it? Fucking the hybrid. God, what's his name?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
hybrid that wanted to fucking, he poked Cerrone in the eye
Cowboy.
and
Mm-hmm.
right, and he said he wanted to run
Nico.
Nico Price, the hybrid
Mm-hmm.
Nico Price, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, please, and he makes a plead, to whatever. Did they run that shit back? No, because they both of them are way outside the rankings for it to actually fucking matter, and too unfamiliar with the UFC fan base to want to buy into this. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Slugfest don't interest me anymore, man. This game has evolved so much that you know um, I need more now, man. My MMA taste, it's an acquired taste now.
yeah,
I cannot settle for ice beer anymore. It's got to be like wine. You know what I mean? I cannot drink those $2 beers anymore. $2 for a 12 pack. The kind we used to drink in college. You know what I mean? Ice.
yeah,
Remember ice?
yes,
Yeah. I
eyes.
can't drink that anymore. I can't drink that anymore. I gotta have some proper 12 or something.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. No, but it's no, like you said, it's the evolution of the sport and what have you. I hope, speaking of evolutions, I hope they evolve past wanting to run this shit back. I just, there's no, to me, there's no point, waste your brain cells in maybe a ranked fight, but
Hmm.
this ain't it. This ain't it, So,
Hmm.
with that being said, we are at the main event of the evening. We have the Italian Dream Marvin Vettori against one Paulo, the Eraser Costa. And that eraser must have been whatever discipline. And to be honest, and I sound like a broken record, I hate
Hmm.
weight cutting because
Hmm.
just to the extent of you're not fighting at the agreed upon weight when you step into the cage, right?
Hmm.
You're for 185 you're at 205 or whatever. So it's just it to me. You fight at your natural fucking weight, and if that's 185 or whatever, just close to it, and we agreed upon it, right? But this one, I believe, is a fucking lack of discipline from Costa and his camp. Now, I mentioned right in the instance of I can't remember which fighter, but if they got to a legitimate fight, Carmen Worthy, we were talking about that.
Hmm.
If Carmen
Hmm.
Worthy was at a AKA or Jackson Wink or American top team, Brazilian top team, Glory MMA, all of these amazing elite level gyms,
Hmm.
Sarah Longo,
Hmm.
Nick Cantone, right? Um, would it make him better? Would it make it worse? And what have you? And this is an instance where, Paulo Costa has his team built around him, right?
Hmm.
But he is the top of the food chain. And where that gets weird is you basically have a team of, like CM Punk said in his Pipe Bomb promo, a group of non-essential yes men, right?
Mm.
Oh yeah, Paulo, drink that wine. Oh, okay, Paulo, blah blah blah, right? Because they're all glad handing, right?
Mm.
He has people on salary at his own beck and call so he can get in rounds so he feels like it, right? So I'm not saying I have no skin in the game. I don't know anybody there. I'm just kind of fucking pulling it from the ether of my brain and
Hmm.
disseminating it to you all. But I
Hmm.
just there's something off because this is not the first time that Paulo Costa's missed weight, to this, you know, really wide margin, right? And but also wants to be regarded in the best in the world at his division and want another crack at Israel Adesanya. But how the hell are you going to do it when you can't even make weight,
That's
And
not gonna happen.
no, 100%. And
He'll never fight Israel again, and he
I hope
doesn't
it
want to
does.
fight Israel. The truth
Yeah,
is, he doesn't want to see Israel. He'll say, I want to fight him. I want to fight him," but he really don't because he can't beat Israel. Israel's too fast for him. Israel, the IQ, the striking IQ is way too high. He cannot take Easy down because Easy's too fast. It's just gonna be another embarrassing. He's yet to recover from that beatdown. It's
nope.
really
Yeah,
why he
you're right.
missed weight. He looked for every instance to escape coming back.
Reality.
He tried, but Marvin Vettori, being the savage that he is, was like, "Hey, I'll fight you at any weight." So when he was backed up into a corner, he had to accept the fight. First, he was talking about, yeah, 195, 195, 195. But Vittori was like, I don't care. Any weight. Okay, 205. You know what I mean? Whatever. So 205 was where the fight ended up, and he was forced to perform. Now, There's something about Paulo Costa's gas tank that I'm very impressed about. I'm very impressed. His kick, uh, uh, I'm not so impressed. Uh, he didn't initiate kick from the front leg. His kicking game is not so great. Yes, he landed a lot of kicks. That's because Marvin Vettori was pressing the match relentlessly. Marvin, like us, assumed that he is not in shape,
Right.
which is why he
Right.
didn't make weight. He is
Right.
not in shape. So if he pressed him for 25 minutes, he will break soon. At some point, he will break. But unfortunately, Paulo Costa didn't break because he's got great cardio. He was actually in shape.
Yep.
Marvin Vettori, however, also impressed me with his game plan. The game plan.
The game plan. It's the hype. It's all you wanted. It's everything you want. It's everything you need. Uh, I kind of feel like Voodoo's phone might have overheated. It happened the last time, but yeah, in terms of Vittori and Paulo Costa, I really feel like there's an eccentricity about everything that surrounds Paulo Costa at the current moment, but it has been this way for years. I worry about him. I really do.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but anyways, his game plan was effective. Him and his professor, excellent game plan. What they did was the right thing to do. He primarily struck with boxing. He wanted Paulo Costa to exchange with him, and he brought the heat. And the fire was hot. Luckily for Paulo Costa, he had fire retardant, right? So he never really got burned the way he was supposed to get burned.
Mm-hmm.
That cardio really, really, really
Served
held
him
him.
well.
It served him really well because what Marvin Vettori brought to the table, most folks, people in the situation that Paulo Costa was in, should not have walked out of that cage. He should have
Right.
been carried out.
Yep.
He should have been carried out. Marvin Vettori was not interested in any takedowns. He just wanted to pound his face in, and he tried his best. He tried his best. Paulo Costa kept dropping those kicks, right? Unfortunately, he was throwing them to the opposite side of the liver, right? That many kicks landing the way they landed, at least one should have hit the liver, right? But
Should have.
it didn't. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Marvin Vettori, outside of the eye poke, I believe Marvin Vettori was on pace to win in that match regardless. Eye poke or not, he was going to win by unanimous decision regardless. Um, was the referee wrong for taking a point off on the first infraction? I believe every infraction should be a point off.
I agree.
You kick
100%.
someone in the nuts, it should
Yeah.
be a point off immediately. You poke someone
1000%.
in the eye, it should be a point off immediately because that damage does not reverse. It doesn't
Right.
go away. Every time you kick someone in the nuts, the pain remains. That damage is already done. That eye
Mm-hmm.
poke is already done. I don't believe that that uh, we should expect these people to continue fighting after they've been kicked in the nuts or poked in the eye. I don't
Yeah.
believe they should. There. I mean, even though I'm gonna use someone else as an example because someone might think, "Oh, but you said Aljamain Sterling, blah blah blah." Aljamain Sterling was celebrating the fact that he won a title.
Yeah.
Of
100%.
he didn't
100%.
win no title.
Mm-hmm.
He acted like he beat someone, whereas he didn't beat anyone. He was losing this match, and
Mm-hmm.
actually his opponent gave him an out by kneeing him in the face while
Mm-hmm.
his knee was down. His
Mm-hmm.
opponent gave him that victory. He was on his way to losing that match, and we all know the truth. So him saying I don't want to fight anymore, he's entitled to that. Is all I'm saying. But
Yeah.
please don't celebrate a fight that you were losing. You didn't
Yeah.
win anything. You were getting beat down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You were getting beat down, and I don't know why they haven't called for what do you call that when they
DQ.
bring in a new title,
Oh, the interim.
interim title. This is the perfect time for an interim title. You know what I'm saying? You want to have surgery? Go have surgery, right? Right? All of a sudden, you're back training. You're training with Adrian Yanez, but yet you can't fight in a real fight against the real champ, right?
Yeah.
This is the time for interim title. Does the man need to recover? Okay, let him go recover. Interim title. This is deserving of an interim title, not Cyril Gahn's title, right? Right? Francis
1,000%.
Ngannou. Francis Ngannou wanted to fight. It's not that he didn't want to fight, but they
But he
wanted
just
him to
wanted a
fight
little.
at a time he wasn't ready.
Yep.
So you bring up a interim title for
Right.
that. You know what I mean? So that is the UFC being
The
evil.
UFC.
That's the
UFC being
UFC being
the
evil,
yeah, 100%.
right? This is the time right here to bring an interim title, but they didn't. But anyways, let's push that aside. We'll talk about that another day. This is Marvin's time, so we're gonna give him the respect that he earned, right? Marvin earned this. He didn't really talk much trash this time around. He was more focused on the fight, which I appreciate. So shout out Marvin Vettori. Shout out to you and your performance. You did very well. You fought like a champion. You fought like a true contender. I see him getting back to that title 10 times before Paulo Costa gets to that title again.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any different. I mean, again, all respect, all fucking respect to one Marvin Vittori. He is the Italian dream. Migrating from Italy over to the U.S. Training with the great Rafael Cordero and King's MMA. But as long as Izzy's going to be on top of the championship picture for as long as Israel has, and
I don't think so. You
Oh, yeah.
forget Alex Pereira is here now. Alex
That works.
Pereira is here now. Now, the thing that is going to the springboard that Alex Pereira needs to get to that title match is Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
He's got to beat Marvin Vettori. When he beats Marvin Vettori, he will get that title right after that. He's got to go through Vettori, though. If that's going to happen, I do not know. I do not know if that's going to happen. But this is what he needs to do. He needs to go through Marvin. You know what I mean? He needs to go through Marvin. I mean, who are in the top 5 of that division?
The top 5, as it stands right now, is we got Vettori is number 5, Derek Brunson, Cannonier, Paulo Costa, Robert Whitaker.
Okay,
and I'm sorry, none of those 5 have anything on fucking Izzy.
Yeah, none of them have anything on Izzy, and for now, Izzy has nothing on Alex Pereira because Alex has beaten him twice.
Yeah.
Granted, that was kickboxing, but Izzy is a kickboxer. When do you ever see Izzy shooting a double and trying to take somebody down?
Never.
Not once. I ain't never seen him. When have you ever seen him pull guard? Never. Ever. And if he did, it was a joke. He did it as a joke. But I've never seen that. I've never seen him take anyone down.
Yeah.
So that tells you Alex Pereira is really the unsung champion. Really. Because he's the only one that's beaten the champ in this division convincingly. And if he can do it then, I think he can do it again, especially with those little gloves. Oh, my goodness. But he's got to go through Murderer's Row. Can he beat Derek Bronson? Can he beat Marvin Vettori? He can beat Cannonier. I know he can because Cannonier doesn't shoot the double either. That means he'll knock Cannonier out. Who are the other guys that you mentioned? Paulo Costa? He'll kill Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
He will kill Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
I know that for a
fact. Brunson, right? Even if you go outside of, as it stands in the top 15, right? After Vettori, it's Jack the Joker Hermanson, Tarzan Sean Strickland, Darren Till,
He'll beat him.
Gastelum, Uriah
He'll
Hall,
beat him.
Edmund
He'll beat him.
Shabazian,
He'll beat him.
Tavares. Yep.
He'll beat him.
Weidman, Holland, and Muniz.
He'll beat
Andre
all
Muniz.
names you mentioned. The
Yep.
only thing that I'm a little skeptic about is his wrestling defense.
Right.
Can you defend the takedown? Do you have the timing to catch
To get it.
the takedown before they can take you down? That is the only discrepancy. And we will find out in his first match in the UFC. I'm curious to see who they're going to throw at him first. You know what I mean? They're probably going to throw at him a feeder fish first. And then, because this is the match you want to make. So first they're going to throw him a feeder fish, and then they're going to throw a top 15 at him.
Wait, I thought Dana White says that they don't have gimme fights, right?
Oh, they got gimme fights,
Of
man. It's
course
all about
they do.
matchmaking. If you put someone in there that is not a grappler or someone who's going to introduce a takedown, he's going to beat that person down. That's what's going to happen. He's going to beat them down. He's going to knock them out. He's going to look really good. He's going to get on the mic and he's going to say, I want the champion, right? That will open the door and make it okay for him to leapfrog all those people to attempt to get into the top 15 and fight a top 15 fighter, right? He might fight number 15 in his second matchup, right? From number 15, he'll fight number 10. From number 10 to number 5. Before you know it, he's fighting number 1 or the champion. And it's going to go just like that. You know what I mean? They're going to keep giving him favorable matchups until he gets to the top 5. Then he has no choice because every last one of those dudes can wrestle, with the exception of Paulo Costa, of course. And Paulo Costa is a very good jiu-jitsu artist as well. And he's going to be moving on to 205 anyway. Dana said, Paulo Costa's going to 205. You know what I mean? So he's out. He's out. He's not second or third place anymore. Marvin Vettori is going to take his spot. You know what I mean? And that's going to be that. So everybody in the top 5 is a grappler. He's got to go through one of them grapplers to get to the championship, right? But everybody before those top 5, they're going to make sure that he gets someone that's going to stand with him, like they did with Conor. Conor was given stand-up fights, with the exception of what's that little short dude's name that used to fight with Uriah Faber's gym?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
The hunter. He's a hunter. Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes. Yeah, they threw Chad Mendes at him because it was a short notice fight. That's why. If Chad Mendes had time to prepare, then you would have seen a different outcome. But because it was a short notice fight, they threw Chad Mendes at him, which is favorable to Conor. Because sooner or later, like we talked about earlier, grappling is extremely taxing. It's extremely taxing, right? If you cannot finish the individual that you're holding down, sooner or later you're gonna get tired. And if you can't take them down, they're gonna piece you up. And that's what happened to Conor McGregor fight against Chad Mendes, right? But Pereira, he is the talk of the town. He is the talk of the town. I see him doing destructive things in the UFC, man. People are gonna get hurt when he comes to town. They're gonna get hurt. Faces will literally be broken. I mean, the man is called Pantoja or something like that. Hands of stone. Hands of stone. This is not a joke. He was taking lives with 16-ounce gloves, 14-ounce gloves. Now he's got 4-ounce gloves. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I wouldn't be surprised if we see our first death in the UFC. He is that dangerous. Trust me. Trust me. I wouldn't be surprised.
Jesus.
Trust me. This guy is that dangerous, and it is what it is.
I don't know, man. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to.
I hope not too.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, man.
I wouldn't be surprised though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, man. That is UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori, and Jesus Christ, I'm surprised that they haven't cut Costa, But strange things happen. Strange things happen. But also a strange thing that is happening. We are actually getting a full pay-per-view quality card with title defenses and everything on Saturday. So we will be
Mm-hmm.
back Thursday. But let's just look at. I mean, we got fucking title fights on free TV. And what are those title fights? You say? I'll get to that. We got fucking Jan Blachowicz, right? This is a headline fight. Actually, before we get there, we've got the return of Hamzat Chimaev, right? Then you've got the interim title fight of Petro Yan versus Sanhagen, and
We
we've
got
got
Islam Makachev.
Makachev coming back, and he's fighting Dan Hangman Hooker, who looked pretty
Mm-hmm.
good, especially after Hooker's loss to one Bellator world champion, Michael Chandler. And then
Mm-hmm.
we've got the long-awaited, hopefully, it is the Vern Gagne of MMA, where Glover Teixeira, who spent so many of his prime years outside the organization, right,
Mm-hmm.
because the visa issues and what have
Mm-hmm.
you. This is a person who John Hackelman, the legendary coach of Chuck Liddell, it
Mm-hmm.
says about he not only did he prep Chuck for his fights, but also and he being Glover Teixeira, pronouns
Mm-hmm.
pal, but
Mm-hmm.
also he's yeah, Glover Teixeira is the hardest punching fighter that Hackelman has ever been in the held mitts
Mm-hmm.
for. That
Mm-hmm.
literally through the heavy bag, he'd be
Mm-hmm.
holding a heavy bag, right? Holding a
Mm-hmm.
heavy bag for fucking Teixeira, and he could feel Teixeira's knuckles through the heavy bag. That
Mm-hmm.
is some crazy, crazy shit. This
Hey,
actually, oh, good.
speaking of preparation, speaking of Glover Teixeira preparing Chuck in his time, Alex Pereira is preparing Glover Teixeira now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, I just saw that the bantamweight is going to be interim title match. PHA Yan
Yeah,
versus Corey
100%.
Sandhagen.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Good
it's
job, UFC.
yeah, it's and they're just waiting for fucking Aljamain Sterling to fuck up and making this the lineal title. You know,
Mm-hmm.
then you've
Mm-hmm.
got former former Bellator world champion Alexander Volkov
Mm-hmm.
against Marcin Tybura.
We talked about
Jingla,
that last time,
yeah, this is
maybe
this
two
is a
weeks ago, but we talked about that matchup.
yeah. So I mean, this is it. This is actually taking place in none other than Fight Island. They are back to
Mm-hmm.
Fight Island for UFC 267. So we will be back with Voodoo in the Woods this coming Thursday, probably at 11 o'clock. More over than not, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Thursday evening. And we'll go into Friday, starting off your weekend with us. And then we will return sometime Sunday reviewing that very card. So, Voodoo, where can they find you, good sir, on
Oh
social
man,
media?
most definitely you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, Twitter, and Spotify. No, not Spotify.
I was like, next level shit. Oh, damn.
Snapchat.
There you go. Like, oh, watch my stories on my fucking Spotify. 10 points. I like it. Anyway, and I'm Quentin Winston. You can find dumb shit memes, stories about my weekend, and the podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for the According to Woods podcast. But also, while you're subscribing and liking all that jazz, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Video in the Woods podcast on Facebook and YouTube. Chances are, if you're watching now, you already have it. So tell your friends, tell your enemies. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Come all, and we will be back this coming week with Voodoo in the Woods. Bye.